When a frugal person decides to buy something, that decision is not necessarily based on the price. What happens is frugal living gets a bad rap because it becomes lumped in with deprivation or never spending money. I had someone contact me earlier this week that said, I followed you because you're the channel that talks about never spending money. Now, I don't think we've ever said that.
No.
Frugality is not deprivation. Frugality is not never spending money. Frugality is about deciding where you're going to cut back on spending money on things that aren't important to you so that you can in turn spend money on things that are important to you. The truth is, frugal people, us included, we do sometimes drop some money. We even buy new high quality items. But the question is, how do we decide? How do we make that decision that the item we're looking at is actually the thing that we really want to spend our money on?
In case you don't know us, I'm Larry.
And I'm Hope.
And we're from Under the Median, where every week we bring you videos on practical frugality.
In this video, we'll kind of talk through our criteria that we go through when we decide whether we're going to buy something or not. We would love to hear in the comments section what your thoughts are about how you decide, yep, this is an item that I'm willing to drop my own hard-earned money on and pay for it.
Now, Hope mentioned price just a little bit earlier. We do take price into consideration, so
sure.
It's not like we're going to throw that out. We want to get the best deals. We want to do some shopping. We want to be very responsible with our money and make sure it goes the farthest. But price is not the only criteria.
Yeah, because otherwise frugal people would do nothing but buy a whole lot of the cheapest thing available, which isn't necessarily the longest lasting or the best made or something that's going to last a lot longer than other things that are maybe a little bit higher quality and a little better made. So that purchase decision very rarely rests solely on what the price of the item is. Having said that, what is our criteria when it comes to purchasing an item?
Hope and I had a brainstorming session while we were kind of scripting this video, and we actually came up with 20 criteria that we use for making purchases. So let's start with our very first one on that list.
The first thing we sort of alluded to a second ago, and that's quality. High quality, well-made items, super important to us.
One of the things that kind of goes along with quality is longevity. So if you buy an item that's well built, that's made well, those items are going to last a long time and you're going to get more for your money, even if you might pay more to get quality.
Along with that long-lasting idea comes the whole idea of the warranty that is offered from the manufacturer. We have firsthand experience with having paid really good money for a high quality tent, and then we were in the mountains. Do you want to tell the story?
Well, basically, we got into a rainstorm. This is a tent I'd had a few years, and it's a North Face brand, which is a very reputable brand, and we'll talk about that
Love
too.
North Face products.
And the zipper ripped out from it and we couldn't zip it up. So here we are in pouring down rain. There's water coming in the tent. So after we got back from our camping trip, we contacted the company, and their policy is to replace items of like value where they didn't make the kind of tent that I purchased for them several years ago. So they ended up giving their highest quality tent. It was like a $700 replacement tent for what I paid for about $250 for the other tent. So they stood behind their product, and that is where warranty is very important.
Speaking of that raging thunderstorm, I'm just going to put a plug in here for the whole idea of wherever you go, taking along old-fashioned clothespins.
Yeah,
that was how
that's what we used.
We kept the tent flap closed overnight in the rainstorm, was old-fashioned clothespins. It worked. We did not get rain on the inside of the tent.
And that leads into our next criteria point, and that is workmanship.
Yep.
Anything that has good quality is also going to have good workmanship. It's going to be well built. It's also going to be very well designed. And so these are all other things that we look into when we're making purchases.
One of the things when it talks about well designed, and we noticed this, we watch product reviews, so that would be another one of our of our tips would be, what kind of reviews is this product getting? We were interested in a specific product just this week, and we watched a review on it. It was an e-bike. And we
Yeah.
discovered that the battery on the e-bike was really poorly, it was just engineered wrong.
Really bad.
Badly.
Really bad.
You couldn't get in there to get the battery out to charge it. It took like brute force to get the bat. And of course, you have to be able to charge the e-bike battery after it's depleted. Otherwise, it does you no good. Couldn't, once it was in place, you couldn't charge it.
Yeah,
either.
the problem with the design, it was a folding bike, but it was a bike that weighed 90 pounds. Now, that's really heavy, even for an e-bike. And you had to fold the bike, and then you had to be able to pull the battery out where the fold was. And it was really hard to get out. And you couldn't charge the battery on the bike. You had to remove it in order to charge it. Well, that's bad design. So, we kind of wrote that off after we saw that.
Look for product reviews and look for honest product reviews. We always tell people, if you're looking at electronics, CNET. CNET does great reviews on anything electronic.
They remind me a little bit of Consumer Reports, only they're free. They don't cost anything. You have to subscribe to Consumer Reports in order to get their information. CNET will give you unbiased information on products. So if you're interested in a brand new product, that's a good source.
Underwriters Laboratory, UL certified. That's still a thing, guys, to look for. Good Housekeeping was known for decades for their product reviews, and they still are, believe it or not. So look around a little bit and see if you can't find reviews that are unbiased.
Well, in order to get those seals, they have to meet certain specifications. So if it's got the Good Housekeeping seal or the UL approval, then that means it's going to be a good quality item.
One of the other criteria we use before we plop down our hard-earned money is ease of use. Some of these things they're high quality, they're high price, they're designed okay, but how the heck do you figure out how to use them? Like intuitive, not a word that one would use when it comes to ease of use with some of these products.
And so many items, especially electronics, are not real intuitive these days. And you have to be a computer expert in order to run some of these things. So that, once again, that can be borne out in the reviews. You can go on Amazon, look at what people are saying about the product, or take a look at the YouTube channels that have done some reviews. All you have to do is put the make and the model into the YouTube search engine, and then you can find a lot of these products where people have done reviews. And don't just watch one or two, watch 3 or 4 of them, because you're going to find an unbiased review in there somewhere.
This is not easy to use. This is easy to find is the next tip that we would have. And that's in regards to replacement parts. What are parts that normally wear and tear go out on these products? One of the things that we have done is find an expert in your area that specializes in repairing those kinds of products. Be that an HVAC company. We have a friend who owned an HVAC company for a long time, so he's always like our go-to for what's really good when it comes to washers, dryers, refrigerators, furnaces, air conditioners. He'll give us the lowdown. These are the repairs I often see come in. Same thing with, anybody that repairs cars. They're going to tell you what makes and models they see and what parts they consistently see wearing out and how hard it is to get those parts. If a lot of those parts are specific only to that manufacturer, that means that you are going to have to buy that specific manufacturer's parts if they're not a universal replacement part. That can get pricey.
And not only that, but how easy is that item to repair? I remember hearing about a certain make and model car several years ago that in order to change the spark plugs, you had to loosen the motor mounts to get to one of the spark plugs. That is a very poor design.
That seems really dangerous to me, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, so those are things that you need to take into consideration that will have a lot to do with the long-term cost of owning that product.
Another criteria you might want to think about, how long has that company been in business? It might be the best product since sliced cheese was invented, but Have they only been in business 6 months? Have they been in business for a year? That's a big difference between a company that's been in business 6 months or a year or a company that's been in business for decades. What happens is they come up with this great idea, they start producing it, and then you want to wait until all the kinks have been ironed out, so to speak, like the third or fourth generation of something. By that time, we figure all the kinks have been ironed out and any potential problems have probably been remediated or fixed.
And along with that, is this a company that makes itself available for customer service?
Yeah, huge.
Can you get in touch with them if you have a problem, or do they just kind of whitewash you when you email them? So these are all things to take a look at. Once again, reviews can be a really good indicator on whether that's going to be a good company to purchase an item from.
Companies are really good at wanting to sell you things, but how well does that company communicate with customers after the purchase? Great example. And they're not sponsoring the video. In fact, we're not even an affiliate for this company because they don't have any affiliations even available. Back Market. They sell gently used electronics, all kinds of stuff. We have bought from Back Market probably a half dozen times and been thrilled with them every single time. And not only that, their customer service and the degree to which they go out of their way to make sure that you are happy with your purchase, amazing. It's a great company.
Yeah, they sell mostly laptop computers and phones. And the phone that I have and the laptop that I have were purchased through Back Market. And not only are they good to deal with, they'll send you 3 or 4 follow-up emails to see if you're happy with the product, how's it going. I mean, they are really good communicators. They're fast, quick, easy to use. And when they say an item is in excellent condition, they mean it's in excellent condition. So they're a good, reputable company to work with.
Yeah, and we'll float you a link in the description of the video, guys, for Back Market.
There's a lot of new products coming out on the market right now. In fact, there's a lot of power stations, tons of power stations coming out, tons of e-bikes. Whenever you have something kind of new, everybody jumps on board. This happened with automobiles back around the turn of the century. At one time, there was over 300 automobile manufacturers in the United States. They finally get wheedled down to just a few that really last. So is this item going to end up being an orphan? It's a little hard to know on brand new technology until you get some companies that start developing a good reputation.
I didn't even know that thing about the automobile manufacturers. This is like trivia time with Larry, all right? Now you know. So for your next trivia night, over 300 manufacturers at one time of automobiles in the United States.
Well, and the same thing happened with crank Victrolas and pianos. There were a ton of those companies too. This happens with anything new that's coming out.
Is the item readily available on the second-hand market? This is kind of like a weird mixed bag thing. If there are a lot of them on the used market, is because people got them and hated them? Or is it just that a whole lot of them have sold and like a new, iPhone, like a new iPhone model just came out, therefore everybody's selling the last generation of iPhone that was made. I think you got to think about if it's readily available in the secondhand market, why? It might be a good thing. Might be a really good thing that you can find it readily, but it might be not so good thing too.
A lot of people replace an item way before it's worn out because they just want the newest and greatest and all the bells and whistles that they develop as they improve on a product. And if you get something that's 2 or 3 generations back from that, it doesn't mean that's bad. It just means that you're going to pay a lot less for it. And it may not be the most up-to-date thing, but it will work just fine.
One of the questions that we always ask ourselves is, are there coupons available? I mean, okay, so you have to get down to this whole frugality thing. Even if it's a high quality item, you want to make sure that you are getting the best deal on it possible. Are there coupons available? Is this something that comes through a sales cycle? For instance, if you are looking for patio furniture, by golly, now is the time to buy patio furniture. At the end of the season, you're going to get a ripping good deal on it, like 75% off of your new patio furniture. And you don't want to buy patio furniture in May or June. That's the beginning of the season. You want to think, when is this item going to come back around and it's going to be on sale for a really, really good price? Those sales cycles actually do exist. Now, there are a number of other ways that one can buy brand new items and rarely pay full price. In fact, we just did a series of 2 videos where we walked you through over 40 different tips and strategies for paying less than retail for anything that you want to buy on the new market. Now, if you want to watch that series of videos, it might be super helpful for you. It's right over there, and you can give it a look.